Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Dr. Perveen. Assalamu alaikum students. In our previous lecture, we have discussed in cross-cultural communication. In this course, we have discussed about the definitions and some elements of a culture. And the purpose of our today's lecture is to put flesh on the bones of the importance of culture and characteristics of culture. Today, we will try in details to discuss all about these things. So the culture, as we have discussed previously, is the central part of our people's lives, and it influences their views and their traditions and values and their hopes, their worries and fears, their humor and their loyalties even. When we are working with people and do interact with other fellow beings, we develop some relationship with them, and the culture helps us in this development of human relationship. So let's move on our today's importance of culture. Culture is a means of adaptation. Many anthropologists admit that culture is a very significant point for people to survive in this world, and it is not a surprise that they regard adaptation as one of the most essential ways of how culture influences human life. So, living in a society or interacting with other people or with other fellow beings, we adapt some behavior, or we got adaptation in some attitudes or in our living or lifestyle. So we want to be like some other people, and sometimes people set their own goals, and there are some high destination. They want to be like other people who got success in their lives, and sometimes they set ideals. They want to become ideal teachers, they want to become an ideal politicians, or they want to become best actor or actress. So they set their ideals and they want to be like those people, so they modify their lifestyles, or they bring change in their own lives so that they can meet the standard, or they can get the destination as as a success gotten by their ideals. So they want to be like other people. Next, culture helps to organize human life. With the help of cultural awareness, people realize what actions are acceptable in the society and what actions have to be avoided. People learn how to develop relations with relatives, friends, and strangers, and finally, people understand what steps have to be taken to achieve the purposes set, what standards, what measures, or what parameters they have to taken, or they have to adopt so that they can get their destination, because it's a human instinct that everybody wants to be liked by other people. Nobody wants that other people must give them hate or scornful statements about ourselves. So this is human nature, and we want to become ideal one. So culture helps in this regard to organize our human life, in what way we have to go, in what way we have to, what are the actions that are liked by the society, and what are those things that if we will adopt those things we will be liked by other people, or what are the things or actions or other things that we must avoid, so that we must be ideal for other people, for other member of the society. Next, number three, culture and interpretation of human life. Culture may influence and make human life possible. It's all about interpretation of reality. Culture is the only responsible item that helps people perceive and analyze the events which happen to them. In other words, culture provides a filter or screen that affects how we perceive the world through our senses. It means culture provides us a parameter, the standards for our priorities, in what way we will priorities, or in what way, sorry, in what way we will prioritize our actions or our interaction with our other people. So it's help us in setting our priorities and standards, and standards for satisfaction, or standards for spiritual satisfaction, or parameters for materialistic satisfaction. So this is the culture that give us mirror in what way we have to be like other people of the similar culture. So because there are people, some people, they are very conscious about their religion. Being a Muslims, we believe in Allah Almighty, and not only we are conscious about our worldly matters, as well as we are more concerned with our life hereafter in on the doomsday, as we will be answerable for each and every actions to Allah Almighty. So there are some people, they don't want to pay attention on their religion, just worldly achievement is enough for them. So this is all about the interpretation or importance of culture in human life. So we can say, to sum up all this discussion, culture is a powerful and essential means used by people to be adapted to interpret their surroundings or personal understanding of this world, and to organize personal thoughts and actions to fit with the local needs and international demands, and to become the successful member of a particular culture. So after discussing the importance of culture, now we move on towards characteristics of culture. Some important characteristics of culture, we will discuss it one by one. Or number one is there, culture is learned. Culture is not inherited biologically, but it's learned socially by man in a society or in a particular society. It is not an inborn tendency, but acquired by man from the association of others. For example, drinking, eating, dressing, walking, behaving, reading, all are learned by man. So culture is learned because it's not biological or ingrained in our DNA. Children do not inherit culture from their parents. Instead, they learn it, and sometimes this learning is going on unconsciously, subconsciously, without paying attention to it. Or we learn our cultures. We learn our cultures not only from our parents, families, but also from our institutions, our teachers, our friends, our peers, our siblings, and other people and media as well. So this process of learning is called enculturation. 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 All human beings share the same biological needs. For example, food, water, shelter. These are the basic needs being as a human being. So, but the ways we choose to fulfill our needs, it varies from culture to culture. Next, culture is social. It's not an individual phenomenon, but it is the product of a society. It develops in the society through social interaction, and it is shared by the man of a society. So we cannot say that there is a particular individual who can develop a culture. Living in a society, while as a result of an interaction and manifestation of a human interaction, a culture is developed step by step or through different stages, we can say. So culture is a social rather than individual. Next, culture is shared. Culture is something shared. It is nothing that an individual can possess but by common people of a territory. For example, customs, traditions, values, beliefs are all shared by men in a social situation. These beliefs and practices are adopted by all equally. If there are poor people or rich people, there is no discrimination between elite class or middle class, that these are the values for elite class and these are the values for poor class or middle class, and these are the beliefs for specific for a particular class of a community or a culture or subculture. So beliefs and values and traditions and customs are like other things. There could be, you can say, difference in lifestyles in the poor and rich people or elite class, but these are the basic assumptions or basic concepts of a culture. These are all shared by all members of society equally, not with discrimination, and there is no division of between the classes of the culture. Next, culture is transmitted. Culture is capable of being transmitted from one generation to the next. Parents pass cultural traits to their children and so on. It's not transmitted through genes but through language. Language is the means to communicate, which passes cultural traits from one generation to another. So we can remember what we were trained by our parents in our childhood. And the same things we want to train and we want to transmit those things, those concepts, those ideas, or those values to our younger generations. And we don't want to miss them because there is a, if we will not try to transmit to transmit all the traditions, morals, and values to our younger generation, there will be a cultural gap, and maybe there will be a death of our culture. So, for the development and transmission of the culture is very necessary. We want to sustain and we want to survive. We want to survive in regards to the culture. It's very important that the things, that the values, that the traditions that we possess at this time, right time, we also want that our children, our next generation also possess that. When there will come, time will come, they also express those values and they also reveal and they also tell the other people that you are the member of the particular society. Next, culture is continuous. It's a continuous process. It is like a stream which is flowing from one generation to another through centuries. Culture is the memory of human race. So the culture which was developed by our forefathers centuries ago, it continues with a slight modifications or alteration. It's continuously going on, and we are transmitting the things that are given us by our forefathers, by our grandparents, by our parents. We got those things and we want to transfer. So this is the going on process, and there's no break in this process. So next, culture is accumulative. Culture is not a matter of month or year. It is the continuous process and adding new cultural traits. Many cultural traits are borrowed from outside and those absorbed in the culture which is adopted, as culture is accumulative and combines the suitable cultural traits. As most of the time we give the examples of non-Muslims as how much they are sincere or regular and punctual and dedicated in their dealings in regarding their jobs and professions, and we want to become like that. Although being a Muslim is also our own trait, but we have sometimes we ignore this and just we want to be like those people. So we want to change ourselves sometimes, but most of the time we ignore this one. And here I want to give the example of PST, Pakistani stretchable time. Being a Pakistani, we prolong the time or stretch the time as much we want. For example, we need to go for a party 6 o'clock in the evening, so we will be there at 7 o'clock and after 7 o'clock, because we have stretched the time as much as we want. Because if we will go over there at 6 o'clock in the evening, nobody will be there, and everybody considering this one that nobody will be there, everybody is getting late or will be there after 1 hour and 1 hour, 1.5 hours. So this is not a good thing, although we want to change this one. So we want to adapt the cultural traits of other people. And here I want to give another example. I heard a joke about this कि एक रिक्शे वाले ने किसी सवारी से कहा कि अब मैं शाम 5 बजे आऊँगा. शाम 5 बजे मतलब अंग्रेजी टाइम 5 बजे आऊँगा means 5 o'clock, means 5 o'clock, not 5:15 or not 5:30. So here regarding the punctuality and regularity of the time, I have also observed during my stay in Malaysia, the people are very punctual and regular. And regarding other nationalities or other members of the other culture like Indian cultures, I observed that they are more punctual and regular as compared to our Pakistani community members. Next, culture is integrated. All the cultural aspects are interconnected and interlinked with each other. The development of a culture is the integration of its various parts. For example, value system is interlinked with morality, customs, beliefs, and religion. It means we are giving training regarding value systems, giving training to our younger generation. It means we are also teaching them moralities and our customs and our beliefs and our religions that are manifestations that will be manifested by our culture. So it doesn't mean that if we are giving them training or if we are teaching them some values, so these we are also giving some other aspects of culture. We are making them train, and we are giving them also instructions or education about other aspects of our this particular culture. Culture is changing. It remains changing but not static. Cultural process undergoes changing but with different speeds from society to society and generation to generation. Think about the past 5 years or past 10 years, how much changes have been developed in our own society, in our own Pakistani community. So, regarding the digitized or digital technologies, where how many changes are there, so we can observe, or the ratio and the speed of this change is different from in is different in developing countries and in developed countries. Maybe this changing situation is more as if we can observe over there, with more speed as in our own society. Sorry. So, or we can also compare this changing situation. The change in the culture is slow in our rural areas as compared to our urban areas. So it changes are over there, maybe with less speed or with the in different areas. Next, culture varies from society to society. Every society has its own culture and ways of behaving. It's not uniform everywhere, but occurs differently in various societies. So every culture is unique in itself in a specific society. For example, values, customs, traditions, ideologies, religion, belief, practices are not similarly but different in every society, as you can observe or as you can see. However, the ways of eating, drinking, speaking, greeting, dressing, etc., are different from one social situation to another. For example, being a Muslim, we shake hands or we say Assalamu alaikum, and if there are British or American people, hi, how are you, or they wave the hands to say hello or hi or to address the other people. Or if there is a Hindu person and he say namaste, he joins the hands and say namaste. Or likewise other some differences we can say in our social lives regarding these social activities, and these are the different from culture to culture. Next, there is the culture is responsive. Culture is responsive to the changing condition of a physical world. It intervenes in the natural environment and helps man from all dangers and natural calamities. So, for example, our houses are responsible to give us shelter and safety from storm and heavy rains. So, culture is responsive. It fulfills our basic needs, and we can get comfort when we adopt a culture. We get comfort, or life becomes easier for us if we are the follower of some particular culture. So we can say culture is helpful in this regard, and we are many things we are granted by our culture. Next, culture is gratifying. It is gratifying and provide all the opportunities for needs and desires for satisfaction. Our needs like food, shelter, clothing, and desires like status, fame, money, and sex are all examples which are fulfilled according to the cultural ways. In fact, it is defined as a process through which human beings satisfy their needs. So, culture is gratifying and is granting us or supporting in a sense that we can get advantages by observing or by observing a culture or by exercising some activities imposed by some particular culture. Next, linked with society. Culture has linked with society. One of the characteristics of a culture is that culture and society are one and the same. But if we say that these turn two are twin sisters, it would not be wrong. Society is the composite of people and they interact each other through it. It binds people within the society. So society without individuals, without people, society is nothing. And the people and the individuals are nothing without any society or without any culture. So they are interlinked and they are interrelated and they are dependent each other. So this is the end of our today's lecture. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.